Neat. I've got everything set, ready to go. We are here again. It's Thursday. You know what that means with the time of the week. Let's get some Umineko progging. I think I've had like a decent amount of stuff going on that I've just actually kind of forgotten happened last time. Like, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think what it was, but I'm pretty sure once I actually just like load the save, then it'll show me. It'll come back. Let me put these dishes away real quick, and then we'll get started. Hey, Joe. Let's move these curtains. All right. Umineko Prague. Let's do. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, and then I need this. Oh wait, hold on. Oh, I showed it before. Oh, you know what? Here, let me do that. I just realized that it's like clipping at the bottom now. It's just. There we go. Lock that in place. Sweet. Didn't I have this before? Oh! Oh, I had to add this another thing. Alright, well, whatever. I'll add that later. Boom. Where did we leave off? Oh, right. How many times have I done that? I feel like I keep hitting start instead of the like, just the new game. Oh, we left with Natsui. Alright, right. Got you. Okay. So, a dull headache tormented Natsui. No matter what medicine she took, no matter which sense she burned, it wouldn't heal. In fact, simply wandering alone through the dark corridors, listening to the sound of the rain, seemed to be a better cure. It may be Natsui, but it was never Ushiromiya Natsui. Been despised and treated as a borrowed wound, and insulted when I couldn't even fill that role. Even so, I have tried to properly perform my duties as a wife, but now even my husband has rejected me. I've done my best raising my dog, as if it were my last job left to do, or last job left to me. However, I've had no release from my anger and sadness. caused me to subconsciously strain that relationship too. Because I've been excessively strict in Jessica's education, she dislikes me thoroughly. She despises me for having no interest in anything but grades. There is no longer anything I can do for the Ushiromia family. She's going through it. That's not good. Despite it all, I accept my husband and beat back the schemes of the other greedy siblings. The family head won't be around much longer. Eventually, Kraus will succeed the head. The next successor will be Jessica. Strictly speaking, the man who enters the family by marrying Jessica will become the next head. But it all comes to the same thing. I have to make Jessica an excellent successor, whom everyone will accept as worthy to take over the Ushiromia family. In the days to come, that greedy Ushiromia Eva will probably be plotting to find some fault with the main family. If all goes as she plans, Jessica will be dragged down from succession with George set up in her place. Look, I'm the #1 George fan, right? #1 George stan, but even I wouldn't wish that. I wouldn't do that to Jessica. She's too cool. It is regrettable, but George is a man, and even more, has matured as a person. Best day of the week is here. Yeah. Welcome, Kark. Welcome. Compared to Jessica, who is right in the middle of her rebellious period and whose grades are slightly below average, it can be seen at a glance who is more fit to succeed the head. So in order to secure Jessica's position, I need to turn her into an excellent person. After doing that, I want to find her an excellent, worthy of the excellent person she will have become. A wonderful man who will truly accept Jessica and stay with her through all of life's joys and sorrows. Was Natsuki trying to entrust her daughter with fulfilling some desire for her? Natsuki thought back to the days when she had no choice but to marry into the Ushiromia family because of that unavoidable fate. I'm getting a little confused of who's actually talking here. It sounded earlier like that was the first person from Natsuki, but now we're back to Idol? It was like this switching. She had tried to block that from her memory. She had consciously forgotten and had actively attended to the life she had been given as Ushiromia Natsu. And in doing so, she had built up a new life. But just now, it felt like all of that had been casually rejected. Natsui helplessly rested her head against the glass of the window. The glass, which was cool thanks to the raindrops beating against it, felt somehow refreshing. Even though it should have been emotionless, right then it seemed to be the only thing that could understand Natsui. At that point, even if someone had appeared, Natsui didn't intend to pay any attention. But she did pay attention. Because it was her beloved daughter. Going one hell of a midlife crisis, huh? And it almost sounds like she's just talking as if her whole life has been a lie. Which, or maybe not a lie, but just more of like her life has been a waste, maybe. That's what it kind of sounds like. She's just super regretting it. And I don't know if I can like necessarily blame her. Put this right here. Yeah, there we go.
母さんか。なんだよ、こんなところに。幽霊かと思ったぜ。
Just like always, her words were rough and not at all like a girl's. Instinctively, words of rebuke rose to Natsui's throat. However, their strength gave out and they didn't escape her lips.
ジェシカ。ごめんね。母さんは 頭痛がひどいの。そっとしといてくれる？そう。
Just because we're seeing her mother in a position of feebleness for the first time, so she was considerably disconcerted. Disconcerted. Until just now, she'd been filled with contempt for all of the parents, including her mother. But now, those feelings had been completely swept away. Her mother's utterly exalted face had wiped them all out. In its place, the words George had told her floated back up in her mind. Our parents are doing their best in their own way. And because their families are counting on them, they can't afford to keep everything pleasant and have a heavy responsibility to fight. Maybe her mother had been standing around in this dimly lit hallway because no one had tried to understand that. Jessica hated her mother. So she had no intention of speaking kindly to Natsui just because she was looking a bit frail. So when she attempted to speak kindly to her mother anyway, she had to clench her fists and gather up the words from deep in her heart.
ずいぶん立て込んだ話をしてるようじゃん。
Maybe she's trying.
お前には関係あります。よそへ行っていなさい。
Damn. Yeah, I would just take my leave.
頭痛ひどい？
God, just take the hint, bro. Like, take the hint.
私、薬もらってこようか。構わないで結構です。お願いだから、一人きりにして。
Natsui wasn't being cold. Oh, no. She just wanted her daughter to go far away so that she wouldn't have to bump against Natsui's own short temper. But there was no chance that Jessica would realize this. Jessica hung her head, looking sad. Seeing that expression, Natsui recognized that the kindness that Jessica was trying to muster. She gave her head a small shake to drive away her own unkind feelings.
じゃあ私、行くよ。大人の邪魔にならないように、いとこたちと一緒にいるから。じゃあ、お待ちなさい。
Oh? She called Jessica, who was trying to leave and looked lonely, to a stop. Is she smiling?
何？
Is this the first time she's ever smiled ever since we met her? I feel like.
気遣いをありがとう。お前を残して寝込むわけにはいきません。よせよ。縁起でもないぜ。心配をかけました。もう大丈夫です。私は行きます。
I let my daughter see me this feeble any longer. It only make her feel more uneasy. With that thought in mind, Natsui left Jessica with words of gratitude and made to depart. This time, Jessica called out to her mother's back. Natsui stopped and turned around, asking what business Jessica had with her. But Jessica herself didn't know why she'd stopped mother, and for a while she smiled wryly, muttering to herself as if she hesitated over what to say. She was poking around in her pocket, and her hand touched something. She took it out.
さ、母さん。私さ、今日お守りもらったんだよ。なんだっけな、魔除けだったっけ？確かそのドアノブにぶら下げてるといいんだっけ？忘れちまったぜ。私が持ってても仕方ないし。 母さんにあげるよ。
Oh, it was the scorpion charm. Oh, that's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. They got a scorpion charm so they wouldn't be cursed by Beatrice because they were like, what was it? They were like disrespecting her? Or they said like something bad or weird and they were scared about Beatrice like coming back to, you know, like get them for it. I forgot that Maria gave them that charm. It was the scorpion charm that Maria had given her on the beach. It's a scorpion and then the other thing is like a jewel. And they mean something, and I can't remember what it was. It's like two different things. It's been too long. Although she had heard of its various effects from Maria, Jessica's mind had gone blank. She was just barely able to say even that much. Jessica, thinking that her mother probably wouldn't accept it anyway, immediately drew back the hand she had stuck out, grasping the charm. So when Natsume came back to take it, she was extremely shocked.
これは何かの景品？
まあ私も多分そうだろうと思ってるけどよ。こんなおもちゃみたいなお守りじゃご利益は期待できねえよな。
But her mother took the charm from where she grasped it in her hand.
ありがとう。大切にします。ジェシカには今度、私が子供の頃大切にしていたお守りを代わりにあげましょう。
Hey, they're bonding.
別にそんなつもりで渡すんじゃないぜ。でもまあ、どうしてもって言うんなら。
では、私はもう休みます。頭痛がひどいので。ジェシカもあまり夜更かしをしすぎないように。
うん。
Natsume put the charm in her pocket and turned away. She then disappeared into the dark hall. Little mother-daughter bonding.
やっぱり明日も丸一日こんな天気みたいだね。
やれやれ、今日の日中が嘘のようだぜ。
George Aniki and I were killing time in front of the parlor television. At that point, Jessica returned. Oh my god. Wait. Being in this room, that's one thing that I actually did just remember. Oh, that is, oh my god. I remember now. One of the biggest things that happened. His dad saying that he was going to die. What was it, tonight, right? Or technically tonight? I think it's still the same day. Then he came back from that meeting where they were all like talking about how to split the gold up in the riddle. And his dad's just like, hey, we should go talk. Because I think I'm gonna die. I completely forgot about that. Still fucking insane. I don't think he explained on that. So I hope they do that today. Her face was still blank, but it looked like she had calmed down a little since we'd last seen her.
マリアはまだ肖像画前？
いや、さっき戻ってきて、今はそっちのソファーで寝てるぜ。マリアにはもう遅い時間だもんな。
Looking at the clock, I saw it was a little past 10 p.m. Even if we were planning to stay up all night, it was about time to head back to her room.
一応うちのおふくろが屋敷にも部屋を用意してくれたんだけどよ。どうする？
僕はゲストハウスに戻りたいかな。
In that rain? Why?
親たちの様子を見る限り、僕たちはお屋敷にいない方がいいと思う。
I think this town is big enough for all of you.
俺も同感だぜ。
Okay.
子供は邪魔せず引っ込んでろって感じみてえだからな。 おとなしくそうするさ。
All that trouble to prepare the guest rooms and they're just gonna leave. Like, okay. As we were talking about this, Aunt Rosa came into the park. She was looking all over restlessly, probably trying to find Maria.
ローザおばさん。マリアならそこのソファっすよ。
That's another thing I remember. They left her in the fucking rain, looking for that rose still. And she forgot. Oh my god, it's coming back to me now.
ありがとう。
Count your days, Rosa.
すっかり眠っちゃってるわね。ベッドに移さないと。
よかったら僕がベッドまで背負っていきましょうか。
ありがとう。助かるわ。ジョージ君たちはゲストハウスに戻るの？それとも夏日姉さんが用意してくれた部屋に泊まるのかしら？
今話し合ってました。ゲストハウスへ戻ろうかって話になったところです。
Was Rosa's like husband or like partner ever explained? I feel like not, but I don't know if I just forgot. She's the only one that doesn't like have some, right?
そう。ならマリアも一緒にしてあげてもいいかしら。いとこのみんなと一緒の方がきっと安心できると思うしね。
Behind those words, she seemed to be concealing some regret that the adults, herself included, had deeply hurt Maria's feelings.
任してくださいよおばさん。何しろこっちにゃマリアをあやすことに関してはエキスパートがいるっすからね。
I think she said that he was on a business trip earlier. Oh, so he's just been in a business trip, like, even before they left the island? He's been in a trip this whole time? But then again, I don't know how much time has actually passed since the start. How long has it been? Like 1 or 2 days or something like that?
それは僕のことかい？僕だけじゃ無理だよ。
Because I just didn't know if he was like in their life in general. He was just gone, just so happened right now, like temporarily.
みんなでだよ。
そうだぜ。バトラだってあんなにもマリアと意気投合してふざけ合ってたじゃねえかよ。
As we said this, Aunt Rosa smiled, looking truly happy.
みんなありがとう。私たちの話し合いはだいぶ遅くまでかかりそう。だから申し訳ないけどマリアをみんなにお願いするわ。
おいマリア、熟睡か？
Oh, wake her.
ゲストハウスに戻るぞ。
Maria muttered something indistinct, rolled over, and fell back asleep. It looked like she was sleeping deeply. What if she started just talking like Beatrice randomly? Sometimes I wonder if I'm in a dream or reality. It's like one song. It said easy come, easy come. I can't remember the name of it. I know what you mean now, Mr. Berg. I do know what you mean.
すっかり寝込んじゃったようだぜ。起こすのは悪いな。
うん。僕が背負うよ。
Maria's body was much lighter than it looked. I lifted her up and put her on George Aniki's back. She's like 9. Makes sense. It was raining hard outside, and Aniki couldn't hold an umbrella and carry Maria at the same time. It looked like Aunt Rosa would come with us as far as the guest house to help out. However, when she heard Uncle Krause's voice call out to her, she had no choice but to return.
困ったわね。 もう戻らないと。
あ、皆さんゲストハウスまでお戻りですか？
After we left the hall, on the way to the entrance, the door to the servant room opened and Shannon Chan stepped out.
だいぶ暗くなっておりますので、私がご案内させていただきます。
ちょうどよかったわ、シャノンちゃん。ジョージ君がマリアをおぶっていてくれるの。傘をさしてあげてくれないかしら。
はい、かしこまりました。
Shannon Chan brought umbrellas for each of us and a flashlight to guide the way. As we opened the front door, the downpour was quite terrific. It looked like we wouldn't have any spare time to take a pleasant walk and enjoy the nighttime rose garden.
兄貴、重くねえか？俺が背負うぜ。
大丈夫だよ。マリアちゃんくらい背負えるよ。
本当にありがとうね。
本当に。
マリアをよろしくお願い。
わかりました。じゃあ、おやすみなさい、おばさん。それでは、お送りしてまいります。
ええ、よろしく。
Aunt Rosa watched us leave.
マリア、いつもごめんね。
Good. You will repent later. On God, I could fix Rosa. I'd like to believe so. I'd like to think I could fix Rosa. But, like, I don't know. She's already pissed me off so much because of this. This neglect. It's this part right here, right? Forgetting she was out here. And then the first part of hitting her outside in the rose garden. Those two things. I don't know if I can fix that. I don't know if I can get over that. If she hadn't done any of them, right? Sure. Fair game. I don't know. There's a line to everything. Rosa's mumbling voice didn't reach the person in question, nor any of the kids, but disappeared beneath the sound of the rain. Tell you who it could fix. Ziva. I could fix Ziva. After cutting through the raining rose garden, we arrived at the guest house.
俺がマリアを背負って立候補すりゃよかったぜ。そうすりゃ傘を差してくれるシャノンちゃんのでっけえお乳を二の腕でたっぷり堪能できたってのによ。
We gotta do something about this guy.
そんなつもりじゃないよ。誤解だよ。
そうしないとジョージ様が濡れてしまうと思いまして。ほーら、バカなこと言ってないで入るぜ。
After being urged on by Jessica, we folded up our umbrellas and went to the guest house.
お召し物を濡らしてしまった方はいらっしゃいませんか？
What was that? Oh. Oops. That's something else. The hell?
タオルを用意いたしますが。
そこまで気を使わなくていいぜ。ありがとうよ、シャノンちゃん。
そうだ。僕たちはこれからトランプでもして少し遊ばないかって話なんだけど。よかったら
Yo, what are we
少し
playing?
一緒しないかい？
What card game would they play?
あれ？
It can't be like Go Fish or something like that.
今日のシフト、深夜勤は誰になってんだ？親族会議中は特別シフトになってたと思いました。少し変更も出てるみたいなので、ちょっと確認してきます。
ああ、 わざわざ屋敷に戻らないとわからないんなら無理に。
大丈夫です。ゲストハウスの使用人室でわかりますので。
Oh, look at you.
ちょっと失礼しますね。
Does anyone know how to play Egyptian rat screw? Shannon gave a quick bow and went into the guest house servant. Thinking of cards made me think of that. The rest of us headed for the cousin's room and decided to put Maria to bed. To bed for the time being. Maria was sleeping very deeply and there was absolutely no sign of her eyes open. For now, we'd get some soft drinks out of the room's refrigerator and drink those while playing cards or something. God damn.
あれ？カノン君？源氏様までこちらに。今夜のシフトはどうなっているのでしょうか？
That's a very good question.
クラウス様の命令があってね。
That's a Boy Scouts classic? They didn't teach that in my Boy Scouts. I never learned that.
シフトの大掛かりな変更があったんだよ。
ゴーダがお屋敷の深夜勤に変更になった。シャノンとカノンはゲストハウスの深夜勤。
Interesting. Okay.
私と熊沢はゲストハウスに泊まるようにとのご命令だ。お前も今夜はこのままこちらにとどまるよう。たった今電話があった。
So they're all gonna sleep here?
え？
Interesting.
ずいぶん大掛かりな変更ですね。お屋敷とゲストハウスの当番がまるっきり逆になってるじゃないですか。
Originally, Shannon and Cannon had been assigned the night shift in the mansion, while the night shift in the guest house, where all of the relatives were staying, had been assigned to Goda, who had an abundance of experience in entertaining. Kumasawa should have been sleeping at the guest house, while Genshi should have been sleeping in the mansion. However, it seemed that Kraus had suddenly ordered that the schedule be modified. The shifts of the guest house and the mansion had all been reversed, and Genji was spending the night in the guest house.
多分ベアトリーチ様の手紙のせいだろうね。
Yeah, but what about that would force the servants to sleep here?
多分ってどうして？
あんな怪しげな手紙が現れたら、クラウス様が僕たちを疑うのは当然だからね。
We literally have like active people chatting in here, bro. Like how does the bot just see this and think, oh, you know what? Now's my time. Fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. I swear, we're literally here, bro, and it's not empty. It's not AFK. I'll never understand it.
親方様直属の僕たちを極力親族会議の席から遠ざけたかったんだろうよ。
Oh, that's his reasoning. Does he? Oh, he doesn't believe that it really was Beatrice. Ah. Genji, Shannon, and Cannon were all permitted to wear the Ushiromiya family crest, the one-winged eagle, as the servants who served directly under Kinzo. Of course, since they were working for the Ushiromiya family, they had to obey anyone's orders, but their only boss was Kinzo. Since only Kenzo held the right to employ them, even Kraus could not have dismissed of his own accord. Because of this, Kraus and the others often viewed these servants as Kenzo's underlings and shunned them. Wow, really? And in fact, Kenzo seldom let anyone other than them enter his study. This sudden shift change was probably a clear expression of the sense of mistrust that had caused. Considering the time Kinzo had left to live, this would definitely be the last family conference before the problem of the inheritance came up. On top of that, a mysterious letter that claimed to be from Beatrice had dropped in out of the blue. Perhaps definitely wanted to keep Kinzo's loyal subjects away from the tables of such a delicate and important discussion. Okay.
ではすまんが、私は向こ
I
う
guess-
でくつろがせてもらう。
I guess maybe he's trying to like filter out like gossip and things like that.
もし何かあったらすぐに呼ぶように。今夜のお客様は特別だ。
A special case after all, in bold.
はいかしこまりました源氏様
Genji nodded back, went behind a screen, took off his jacket, and slowly began to relax after a day's worth of tension.
今お戻りになられたのはお子様方
親族の方々はお屋敷で会議を。だいぶ長引きそうな雰囲気だったかな。
I want to be at the big kids table. Take us over there.
なら気楽だねこれ以上の深夜になってしかもこの天気多分親族の皆さんはお屋敷の方のお部屋にお泊まりさ
多分ね。源氏様がいないから言うけど、ゲストハウス行きになってちょっと嬉しかったかな。
ふんどうしてだい意地悪な奥様やエヴァ様から離れられたからそれとも別の理由があるのかい
別の理由なんか
I think she does.
ありません。
I think we all know.
そっかなら二人で深夜勤を頑張ろうよろしく姉さん
私ついさっきお子様方にお部屋で遊ばないかとお呼ばれしてて。
Shannon hung her head apologetically, gazing at Cannon's uncertain. Or gazing at Cannon uncertainly. Cannon didn't try to meet her eyes and spoke curtly as he said. It looked like he didn't plan on indulging his sister.
ダメだよ深夜勤を仰せつかってるそれに僕たち家具には遊びのお誘いは必要ない
Dude, this whole like relating yourself to furniture still feels weird to me. I don't know. It feels so weird to just call yourself an object like that. I get why he's saying that, sure, because they're a servant and that's what they are, but I don't know, man. Furniture just feels weird.
わかるね
そんなこと分かってます。
Shannon's shoulders drooped slightly. She had already expected that Cannon, stick with the rules, would say something like that, but she still seemed a little discouraged. As Cannon flipped through a logbook, he spoke without facing Shannon.
ならお子様方お待たせしてしまってるね
Oh, I see what he did there.
深夜勤に当たってしまったからご一緒できないと謝ってこなきゃ行ってきなよ
私謝ってくるね。
Shannon hurriedly stood from her seat before her brother's mood could change and flew out of the servant room after giving a quick bow. As he watched her go, Kanon took a single deep breath. Genji's voice came from beyond the screen. Oh, was he listening?
カノ、私がここにいるからお前も行くといい。
Oh.
源氏様、
No, I can stay here, do the night shift. Don't worry about it.
誘われたのはシャノンだけです。僕は別に誘われては。
Just order him to do it. He'll do it.
その場にいなかったからお声をかけられなかっただけだ。
It's true.
言えばお前も誘われている。たまには子供らしく遊んでくるといい。
いえ、僕には必要ない行為です。
Oh, the modesty kills me, bro.
人の子には遊びも必要でしょうが、
Let me guess. I'm furniture.
僕らは家具ですから。
そうか。
姉さんだって
No.
家具です。
No, she's different.
人のふりをしたって後で苦しむだけなのに、
God.
僕はそれが分かっているから
Actual
人に
drama
近づきた
queen.
くないだけなんです。
Genji did not say anything after that. After a while, he stood up and used a pot of hot water to make powdered cocoa, serving some to Kanan as well. I need to get hot chocolate. I should get that. That's a very like fall winter thing. I should get hot chocolate.
そりゃ本当かよ。そりゃ知らなかったぜ。
バカ、声が大きいぜ。マリアが起きちゃうだろ。
Battler was so surprised that he yelled obnoxiously, scattered his cards everywhere. His voice caused Maria to turn over once, but she soon fell back into a deep sleep. Good. Good. Jessica gave him a jab, and he lowered his voice.
あ、いや、しかし言われてみれば確かにそれっぽい雰囲気はあったんだよな。はあ、なるほどな。ジョージの兄貴がな。
George couldn't be seen anywhere in the room. A short while ago, Shannon came into the room. George suddenly said that he had forgotten something in the mansion and need to go back and get it. I bet he did. Shannon said she would guide him, just like she had on the way to the guest house, and the two of them departed together. George, you are not slick, man. You're not slick.
いや、昔からそれっぽい気配はあったんだぜ。好きなものを聞いてきたり、趣味を聞いてきたりさ。
Mm-hmm. It was very obvious from when they first actually got to the guest house. He already gave it away then. He gave it away right then when they first got to the guest house after getting on the island. Like, it's just been downhill from there.
単に関心を持つだけにしてはどうもなんて思ってたらよ。
そういや、昔っからジョージの兄貴はシャノンちゃんにやたらと優しかった気がするぜ。なるほどな。
So what's happening on their end? Everybody get that POV? What's up? Where's my goat? Oh, a pavilion?
天気予報によると今夜が一番ひどいみたい。明日いっぱいも止まないらしいけど、もう少しマシになるそうだよ。
That's weird.
そうですか。では明後日までは船は来られないかもしれませんね。
Sitting in a tree.
ジョージ様の月曜日のお勤めに差し支えが出ないか心配です。
台風が来ていることは知っていたからね。万一に備えて月曜日には予定を入れなかったから大丈夫さ。こう見えてもスケジュールは先読みできるタイプなんだ。
I think they'd be great, honestly. These two, I think is actually be great. I don't think there's any better combo out of anybody else in like this family or just this cast. George puffed out his chest, acting proud. Compared to the calm appearance George always had as the oldest cousin, he now looked amusingly like a little kid. Shannon chuckled at his abrupt contrast.
さすが、やがては会社
Oh,
を
a
出され
special
る
theme?
しっかりしていますね。
やっぱり会社を起こすというのは大変だね。お金とかそういうのだけじゃないものが
The George episode. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it.
父さんのところで勉強していてわかるよ。会社を起こすということは城を持ち部下を率いるということ。うちの父さんは秀吉って名前だけあって戦国武将のエピソードがとても好きでね。会社経営の哲学をよくそこから語るんだ。知ってるかい？戦国最強の騎馬軍団と恐れられた武田信玄も最初は部下たちの結束がバラバラで統率力をまるで発揮できなかったんだそうだよ。
そうなんですか？
Why didn't that? Alright. Whatever. Silent reading time, welcome. That's right. Silent reading time. Welcome, welcome. Oops, wrong window.
なんだか意外ですね。
信玄は部下たちを結束させるため数々のリーダーシップを発揮してるんだよ。例えば戦場で武功を立てた部下に対しすぐその場で報奨を与えたり。
He's just showing off his intellectual prowess at this point. But hey, you know what? Go off, my goat. Go off, my goat.
普通こういうのは戦が終わってからまとめてやるものだからね。それを戦場の本陣の中にいながらまめにやり続け、部下の武功を素早く評価しやる気につなげたというのは非常に大きいことだよ。それから部下が病気で伏せった時には誰よりも早く駆けつけお見舞いをしたとかね。武田信玄は戦国最強の騎馬軍団を率いただけじゃない、戦国一の部下思いの人だったんだよ。
そんな方だから部下の皆さんもついてきてくれたんですね。
Truth was, Shannon had already heard this story several years ago. Oh, she's just indulging it. Damn. Okay, okay. She's being nice. But whenever a discussion of his father led to this sort of topic, George would always glow. Looked like he was having a great time. So Shannon just smiled without interrupting, urging him to continue.
確かに資本主義の世界ではお金は力で石垣の高さでもある。でもね、戦も城も自分一人じゃ成り立たない。大勢の部下に支えられ、その力を借りて初めて成立するものなんだよ。それを理解してから父さんの背中を見ると、自分がいかに未熟で父さんが どれほどの切磋琢磨をして今日を築き上げてきたかがよくわかるんだ。
When you get there, man, you're like 23. Don't sweat.
ジョージ様はお父様のことをとても尊敬されているんですね。
He's got a good dad.
羨ましいです。
あ、ごめん。別にそういう意味で言ったんじゃないんだよ。
すみません。私も別にそういう意味で言ったつもりは。
The two of them awkwardly looked at their feet. Shannon had no words. What is the Shannon lore, actually? Yeah. She'd been brought up in an orphanage owned by Kinzo called the Fukin House. Under the guidance of Kinzo, their honorary director, the orphanage offered members who excelled a chance for on-the-job serving experience. If their efforts met with Kinzo's approval, they'd be able to leave the orphanage and work as servants for the Ushimiya family. Oh, okay. This was considered to be the highest honor for those who lived in the orphanage. Servants from the Fukuin house all took names with the character on while they served. Okay. Oh, Shannon. Oh, yeah. Okay. So Shannon wasn't her real name. So was it just Shan? If they just took that off? The same one for Kenon. Sean and Con? All the members of the Fukuin house were orphans. At least they were all people who had been separated from their parents under special circumstances. Because of this, the orphans had been taught to think of each other as their own only family. That's why it seemed so natural to both of them when Canyon called Shannon his sister. Oh, okay. That was context I needed. Okay. And while both Shannon and Cannon were working in the mansion today, there were several other servants possessing the On character in their names, such as Manon and Lennon, who often worked in a rotation schedule. However, there were not many servants who stayed with the Ushiromiya family for long. It was standard for them to quit after 3 years. So you probably say that Shannon, who had been working for 10 years, was a notable exception to the rule. Working as a servant for the Ushiromiya family was a heavy burden to bear, but the pay wasn't bad at all. He's loaded, I would hope not. Working for a full 3 years would earn more than what was needed to enter mainstream society. Oh, so they're just there for the bag experience, I guess. That was why, even though the orphans realized what a harsh task working for the Ushiromiya family was, they still hoped to be accepted. Maybe the fact that Shannon managed to continue working for 10 years wasn't because she had more willpower than the other servants. Maybe she got stuck working for 10 years because she didn't have the courage to say she wanted to quit. Kinzo couldn't even trust his own blood brothers, and those excellent servants sent from the Fukuin house were the only ones he could rely on. Because of that, Kinzo would sometimes allow them to wear the family crest as servants under his direct control and have them work close to him.
もう勤めて10年近くになるんだっけ?
It sounds like an honor.
だいぶお金も貯まったんじゃないかい?
どうでしょう。別に私買いたいものも特にありませんし、ほんの何百万かあったってそれで残りの人生を過ごせるわけもありませんし。
目標の額があってお勤めを続けてるわけじゃないのかい?
そうですね。私はこのお屋敷以外に行くあてもありませんし、お嬢様とも 他の使用人の子たちとも仲良くやれてますし、奥様には時折お叱りを受けますけど、バラの世話やお屋敷のお掃除も楽しいですし。
でもそれはシャノンちゃんの、サヨちゃんの人生じゃない。
Sayo. Oh. She didn't cast her eyes downward when she heard her real name, so that's what it was. She went from Shio to Shannon? So why didn't they put Shayon, like, on at the end of that? They went to Shannon. Unless that was also part of Kinzo's plan to make everybody sound Western. It could be that too. She understood what George was trying to say and fell silent.
僕は成人し、社会人になってからも勉強して分かったことがある。子供の頃、僕らが思っていたほど人生は単調で短くないんだ。
All school-age kids have certain fears they can't shake. They wonder whether they'll live the rest of their lives like sleepy classes after a monotonous and boring school day. Spending their time in a carefree laziness without anything interesting happening until it's all over. However, life's only like that for underage students. Compared to a human's life, the time they spend as students is nothing more than a blink of the eye, period where they break through the shells of their immaturity. The inside of the shell might be a hot, suffocating, and boring world, but the world beyond that shell is vast, filled with limitless possibilities.
君の人生はまだシャノンという殻の中でしかないんだ。君は自分の人生がこの生活のままずっと続いていくと勘違いしてるんじゃないかな。
それは。
Shannon couldn't deny those words. I mean, when he's right, he's right. And when is he wrong? She'd been unable to harbor any clear doubts about her lifestyle. And since she never had any hope or goals for changing herself, she lazily continued living the way she always had. And if asked whether this life was satisfying, she wouldn't have been able to nod. She may have been intentionally averting her eyes from the truth. Without George's admonishments, she would have continued pretending not to notice as her real life slipped away bit by bit, neglected.
庄司様、私はこのままでいてはいけないのでしょうか。
いけないよ。
Oh, just straight up, okay.
あ、それから今、ルール違反が一つあったね。
Which one? George immediately gave a strict answer, then broke out into a mischievous smile. Shannon already knew what she was being chided for. She hung her head again, apparently embarrassed.
僕たちしかいないときは、様はなしの約束だよ。
That one.
約束では聞けません。ですが、ご命令でしたら聞かないわけにはいきません。私は家具ですから。
じゃあ、命令だよ。
Just like that.
はい。かしこまりました。ジョージさん。
Shannon hung her head, her face red. She said George's name again, this time following it with Sama.
それでいいよ、さやちゃん。
This is the development I didn't know I needed. George smiled at Shannon. No. I praised her small act of bravery. This short exchange alone made it clear how far back the relationship must have stretched. For a long while, the two talked as if the weather raging about them didn't even enter their thoughts. They talked about the many memories they built during the relationship that no one else knew about. Every once in a while, a flash of lightning would attempt to interrupt them, but this could sully neither the roses nor the time they spent clutching at each other. Get that bag, bro.
So da.
Umineko has.
君に見せたいものがあって。
Hey, where's the music?
なんでしょうか。
George had been speaking eloquently, suddenly started to stutter. Watching him, Shannon seemed to guess something. George timidly searched through his pocket. You're not like going to propose or anything, right? I know you're in a pavilion and it's just you two, but no way. Something got caught in the depths of his pocket, and just like the stuttering George, it took a little while to get it out. Was it like a rope? Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way. Right here? Right now? It was a very small box. A small box covered in a deep blue velvet. That peculiar shape was enough to tell anyone what was resting inside. Ain't no fucking way, George. Holy shit. You're insane, bro. You're insane for this. Shannon had prepared her heart somewhat, certain beforehand that this was what he'd been planning. But even so, when she actually saw it, she couldn't avoid blushing once more. George opened the small box, took something out, and held it out for Shannon to take. Yo, can we at least see a picture of it? Can we at least see a picture? I want to see what he got. I know what it is, but I just want to see how good it is. I really hope they show it.
これを君に受け取ってほしいんだ。
I can't believe it. He's really doing this right here, right now.
このような高価なものはお受け取りできません。
受け取れない。
いえ、
Come on, don't do this. Don't do this.
私には過ぎていて。
さよ。これはお願いじゃない。命令だよ。
Another order.
この指輪を受け取って。
Good. Take this ring.
ね。
He's too good.
命令
いい子だよ。
Yes! Good stuff! Good stuff! Very nice. Well deserved. Shannon, not wanting to show her bright red face, timidly accepted the ring from George's hand while still staring at the ground. Congratulations. That ring wasn't a simple accessory. No, this isn't the starter Gridania ring or whatever. It was a noble object, meant since ancient times to be offered to a special woman under special circumstances. Therefore, while George could order her to take it, he could not order anything beyond that. Anything beyond that would depend not on an order, but on Shannon's Seo's own will.
だからここからはもう命令じゃない。
Good stuff.
さよ。明日までに言葉でない形で返事がもらいたい。
Without using words.
わかるね。
どうすれば。
You'll
もうこ
figure
れ
it
以
out.
上は命令じゃないから、僕は君に命令はしない。
Oh, he's testing her.
でも指輪は指にするものだからね。気に入ってくれたなら好きな指につけてくれればいい。
Shannon only pretended to not. She already understood what he wanted to do. But she was standing at a huge crossroads of her life.
もうこんな時間だね。今夜はこれくらいにしよう。
George turned away from Shannon, acting a bit blunt.
君に左手につけてほしいと命令することもできるかもしれない。君も命令されればそれに従えるという臆病な甘えがあるかもしれない。でも最後のここだけは君のさよの意志でしてもらいたいんだ。わかるね。
はい。
だからそれが命令。今夜よく考えて明日その返事を見せてほしい。
Sayo nodded back. Today was the culmination of their many days spent together. This moment certainly had to come as a surprise to Sayo.
そろそろゲストハウスに戻ろうか。これ以上遅いとみんなを心配させちゃうよ。
Perfectly timed. You can come back like nothing happened.
すみません。私、そのお屋敷に用を思い出しまして、そのお屋敷へ行かねばなりません。
こんな時間に本当かな。
George standing to say his face as he laughed mischievously. He definitely saw right through Sayo's lie. However, when he saw how she felt, he could sort of understand she might be so embarrassed that she'd want to be alone. I mean, you get it, you get it. So, because George realized the meaning behind Sayo's lie, he accepted it. I feel like it's actually Sayo, but there's no I, so I don't know. I think it's Sayo. Sayo, I don't know. Sayo sounds weird, but it could be Sayo. So I ended it like that. Not bad, George. Not bad, George. He's goated. Oh, that's what I thought it was. Sayo? Lord Umineko. Real. Let me minimize this. Alright. Sayo entered the room, or entered the entrance hall to the mansion with a tottering gait. Sayo. No, we'll do Sayo. A mixture of exaltation and uncertainty gave her a feeling that she couldn't easily describe. It swelled up in her chest until it felt like she was about to burst. After stopping for a second in front of the servant room to take a deep breath and calm her heart, she opened the door. Inside, Goto, who had been ordered to take the midnight shift at the mansion tonight, was absorbed in a worn-out crossword puzzle magazine. He looked up for an instant to see if one of the family had come, but when he realized it was a fellow servant, he returned to his puzzle as if nothing happened.
源氏様より郷田さんのお手伝いにつくように言われてまいりました。
ああ、そうですか。
I didn't think he actually did.
助かります。そろそろ戸締まりの見回りに行きたかったのですが、ここを開けてもいいものか困っていたのです。何しろ、旦那様方の会合はまだだいぶ続きそうですからね。いつ何時お茶のご用命があるかもわかりませんし。
そうですよね。ではどうしましょうか。私が留守番を。
ではシャノンさん、申し訳ありませんが、お屋敷内の見回りをお願いします。
Roll the mansion? You should have just went back to the guest house. Come on.
私はここで親族の皆さんのご用命の待機をしておりますので。
You're not a police officer, like, bro. Goodness. Sayo was slightly disgusted. Even though she'd come here to help out as a favor, she was casually being forced to do the job of the person actually on duty. It's almost like you should have just went back. Like, come on. Furthermore, after one-sidedly forcing that task on her, Goto returned to his magazine once again and became immersed in his crossword puzzle. I can't believe the illusion that this guy gave off when we first got on the island. He was the first one to greet everybody, and I thought he was going to be like the role model example of what all the servants were going to be in the mansion. I mean, he looked like, and he seemed like he was a cool guy. Like, it was actually like really formal and like a nice servant and such. But like afterwards, like now learning about him, fuck, hell, bro. Sayo bowed her head as a token sign of respect for her elder, and then left the room to patrol the mansion. That's Thanks to her being a bit ticked off, she managed to suppress that floaty feeling she'd been having until just now. Anyway, she couldn't let Genji or Kanon see her looking like this. She wanted a little time to herself until her heart calmed down. So maybe going on patrol wouldn't be so bad. I mean, still playing cards and, you know, having soft drinks, but, you know, it's what it is. She began to hear the tumultuous voices of the family discussion coming from the dining room. Please, can we switch to their POV? Like a GTA like character switch sequence, and we just like go to their POV. Like I want to know what's going on. It's gotta be interesting. Someone was speaking at great length, only to be interrupted by someone else. This second person also began to speak in a very long, drawn-out fashion until yet another person interrupted. That kept on repeating. It was as though their displeasure was seeping out through their voices. She'd been told to go to the guest house, so it would be bad if crowds discovered her. Right? Thinking this, Seo dashed past the dining hall. Then she went along a prearranged route through the dark mansion, checking that all the locks were secure. And we running into Natsume? She walked down the hall, checking each window. There were no humans on Rokinjima other than those connected to the family, so locking up didn't really serve much of a purpose. No one had been in the habit of locking up the Ushiromiya head family, at least not until Natsui had scolded them for being careless. Y'all live on a remote fucking island. Who the hell is gonna rob you guys? Who the hell is gonna get here? What? That you don't already know is here. The metal fixtures on the window were ice cold. As she checked them one by one, the glow in her heart seemed to cool down. What was that? What is this theme? At that time, she thought she saw something twinkling across the hall. Twinkling? How could anything be twinkling through the darkness of the hall? Now, you wrote that, not me. She figured she must have been imagining, but she still held her breath. Grasping a curtain, she fearfully gazed down the hall. However, other than the occasional crack of thunder brightening the hallway, she was unable to glimpse any flicker again. It must have been the wind. As they say, it must have been her imagination after them. Maybe her heart was so agitated that she'd seen something that didn't even exist. Like a golden witch? Ooh. Sam went back to checking the windows. However, a certain unnerving memory was resurrected in the back of her mind. It was that ghost story, which had been passed down amongst the servants who served the Ushiromiya head family. The mansion had two different masters, one of the day, one of the night. Beatrice, the master of the night, would sometimes fly around the mansion in the form of sparkling butterflies. Oh! That was the story. Come to think of it, didn't Canon-kun once say he had seen it with his own eyes? Though he got sulky when I said he must have imagined it, refused to believe it. Could it possibly be true? The roar of thunder gave no answer. Interesting. Okay. Where are we going now? Back to the guest house? I like this little RP walk back to the guest house, or like transitioning between buildings. It's like we're the ones in the rain outside walking to and from buildings, like showing each shot like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's the point to be immersive, or it's just kind of like a way to transition between things. That's just the way I see it. It's like, oh, we're back inside now, walking through. Maybe we're doing this in the POV of one of the servants. Is she gonna jump out of the painting? Was this like a Super Mario 64 painting? Like, what's up? Okay. You guys, Brady's house? It's true. It's just like Brady's house. This is so weird. Wait, nobody's talking. It's just flashing through all the characters. Wait, what? What is going on? We went to Beatrice's painting, and now we're just like slide showing through all of the family members and everybody. Wait, what? This is the longest not needed like text or description part ever in this entire like story. Wait, what did that say? Hold on, wait, whoa. What did that say? Wait, all the pieces are set in the game board, what will happen? What? Build your own dialogue? It kind of felt like that, yeah. Like, I was supposed to monologue there, but I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know how long that was, how long that was going to be, basically. Shit, I'm just here for the ride. I thought she was hacking my PC for a second. Like Monica from DDLC? Dude, Beatrice was doing that. The second day? October 5th. Oh, we're on the second day. October 5th, yo. We have finally transitioned to the next day. I think it's just there to show you where each character is located. Wait, but why would they need to do that real quick? That makes it sound like you're gonna need that information for something, though, the way you say that. That was 4 days ago? Yeah. It was, dude. This is Umineko month. This is Umineko month. He didn't read Umineko. I know. Brady said the same thing. I know. But it was Saturday, dude. Like, I get 2 days. I just wanted 2 days, dude. Away from everything. That's all. I don't like these smiles. I'm gonna go back to it. I don't like these smiles. Genji tightened his bow tie and looked outside through a crack in the curtains. Maybe the rain had died down a tiny bit since the previous night. But the thick rain clouds didn't seem like they'd be letting any trace of the morning sun get by. The morning was dim and far from refreshing.
やはり今日いっぱいはやみそうにないか。
I mean, they did originally say that, yeah.
お待たせしました、源氏様。
Kenny finished checking his appearance and exited the washroom. On their normal schedule, it was rare for anyone to suffer going through straight from a midnight shift to an early morning shift. Good God. They were on a special schedule for the 2 days of the family conference. However, unless the typhoon passed today, the relative stay on this island would last until tomorrow. Last night wasn't the first night of the riddle, was it? It didn't start just then, right? Like, I know she described how it worked, but like, that didn't count. Is that? I feel like that's what the achievement was talking about. Can we skip to the part where I can see where Rudolph is? I'm a little bit worried now. I'm a little bit worried. Kanan thought it best to be prepared for the special schedule to last an extra day. Everything that happened so far was in 1 day. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so that's still just day 1. Yeah, that's why it's in the second day. I just didn't know if that counted towards a day towards the riddle, because it was like on the first night, second night, yada yada yada. Side-eyeing this right now. The two of them left the guest house, opening their umbrellas. The rose garden had been devastated by the wind and rain on the previous night. Even though they had spent several days making it beautiful to welcome the guests, one stormy night was enough to ruin it. Cannon sighed. Sue headed for the mansion. They were supposed to be able to go to and prepare breakfast. Go was such a perfectionist that he probably had already woken up and was probably already preparing a breakfast as exquisite and elegant as glassware. They reached the overhang by the entrance to the mansion and folded up their umbrellas. Genji took a bundle of several keys from his pockets and unlocked the door. Bet. Ushiomiya family mansion was the only thing on Rokujima, so in the past they hadn't been in the habit of locking up. That's what I said earlier. Like, why are you checking the windows and shit? Y'all the only ones who live here. However, Natsui had ordered that the mansion be locked up from midnight to early morning. Wakey wakey! Ever since then, unlocking the door in the early morning had become part of the servants' morning shift. This task had been given to Genji and Cannon so that Goda could start preparing breakfast as soon as he woke up. Silence had fallen in the mansion, giving the impression that the mansion itself was still asleep.
では朝の仕事を始めよう。
はい。
Yes, the morning chores where every single family member is still alive and well. They have to be. There's no way. The two of them split up and began opening the curtains throughout the mansion. If the curtains stayed closed, the mansion would remain enveloped in faint darkness, as though it was still trapped in the previous night. Following a well-rehearsed procedure, Cannon went around the mansion, opening the curtains for one window after another without having to retrace his steps once. Even with this horrible weather, drawing the curtains made it feel just a little bit like morning. While doing that, he passed in front of the kitchen. Even though he hadn't smelled anything yet, his stomach started aching for some of Goda's prized cooking.
おはようございます。
He tried to greet Goda, who should have been getting breakfast ready, but Goda was nowhere to be seen. Sleeping in on the job? The kitchen was darkly lit, and not only were the curtains not open, but the fan was lit. It was so cold. Without any trace of a fire being lit, so of course there were no signs of breakfast being made either. Though it would have been excusable, perhaps, Goda had overslept. Even servants are only human. They sometimes sleep in and show up late. I'm sure he's just sleeping in. In the rare case that such a thing happens, it's part of a servant's code to hide the unsightly scene before anyone notices, smoothly cover it up, and make sure the family never even realizes that anything had gone wrong. Cannon took the receiver of the phone that had been fitted to the wall and dialed the number for the extension line in the servant's sleeping room. What's up? He couldn't hear that characteristic sound of a dial tone. Cannon tried picking up the receiver again, but even so, he couldn't hear the usual dial tone. He tried dialing it again, but it had no apparent effect. Goda's not here, and the phone's not working. Okay, it's a little weird. Could the lightning last night have damaged the machine, breaking the extension line? The equipment in his mansion was all worn out. Cannon fully understood that even the smallest thing could have caused it to break down. He gave up trying to wake Goda with the phone and dashed over to the servant's sleeping room. And just forcefully wake him up. Easy. How long has it been since I stopped sleeping and started lazily staring up at the ceiling? That vague sense of awakening was part of Natsui's usual morning experience. She always slept lightly, and she couldn't sleep at all without medicine. For Natsui, sleep was definitely not a happy thing. I wish I could get more sleep. Are you kidding me? When she looked outside, she saw it was still pouring. She hadn't sensed a tiny amount of light. She might have mistakenly thought that it was still the previous night. Wait, go back to canon. Why are we here? She herself was one of the hosts, so she mustn't wake up later than her guests. Urging herself on, she raised up her body, which still hadn't completely recovered from yesterday's weirdness. One would torment her as long as she remained inside this room. And her headache wouldn't get any worse here. This room was the only place we could find peace. So when she left, it meant returning to the world where her husband's siblings kept trying to stab each other in the bed. In that case, wouldn't it be better to just stay locked up in this room forever? That ridiculous notion brought a bitter smile to Natsui's face. She was always starting to sound like Kinzo. Though she often complained about Kinzo staying locked up in his own room and refusing to attend to everyone else, the truth was that she longed to do the same. Natsui gave her head a small shake, and her fantasy was replaced by the reawakening of her usual head. When she reached for the doorknob, trying to leave the room, her hand touched the scorpion charm that she had hung from it before going to sleep the previous night. Oh yeah, she got from Jessica. Yeah. It was Maria's charm, which Natsui had received from Jessica. Didn't Jessica say something about it having the power to repel magic? Here to hang it on her doorknob? Maybe it was thanks to that charm that at least this room had been protected from the malice of her husband's siblings. As she thought this, her mood began to get a little more cheerful.
ジェシカのおかげで少しはゆっくり眠れたということかしら。
Then Natsui remembered. That's right. Last time, I promised Jessica that I'd give her a charm of my own in exchange for this one, didn't I? Natsui opened a drawer in her dresser and took out an antique accessory case that she had treasured when she was a child. Inside, there were many small objects that Natsui had thought were valuable at the time. But amidst those, she pulled out a red pouch. Inside, it was a small, round mirror about 10 centimeters across. It looked quite old, but the design on the back of the mirror was very ornate, and it felt like something with historical value. At the very least, it seemed much more authentic than the other charm, which looked like a plastic scorpion keychain. She had heard that this was a spiritual mirror for warding off evil spirits, and that she had been given it specially by her grandmother when her grandfather's mementos had been distributed. It had been believed since long ago that a strange power resided in this mirror, the magic mirror. Perhaps people thought it could reflect calamity and malice in the same way it reflected light. Natsui returned the mirror to its pouch. It would probably be a fitting object to hand over to Jessica. Just as she was placing it in her pocket, the sound of someone knocking on the door suddenly echoed throughout the room.
はい。
おはようございます、奥様。源氏でございます。
源氏でございます。
早朝から申し訳ございません。
今行きます。何事ですか?
No servant had come to her this early in the morning, nor had they come to wake her in person. Perhaps something bad had happened. They're trying to foreshadow this so much, but I feel like it's just it's like subtle gaslighting. I feel like it's just a ruse. The worst that happened was probably Goda just overslept for that. Maybe some fatal oversight had been made while preparing breakfast, something that would shame the household in front of their guests. Yeah. Natsui took a deep breath in anticipation for whatever troubles she was about to hear of. When she opened the door, Genji once again gave a morning greeting while bowing deeply. Natsui tentatively responded.
おはようございます。何かありましたか?
Yeah, they ain't no breakfast.
申し訳ございません。昨夜の落雷で電話機器に故障が出たようです。
Oh yeah, that too.
内線電話が普通になっておりますもので、直接のお伺いになってしまったことをお許しください。
内線電話が普通？それは面倒になりましたね。修理は可能ですか？
残念ながら故障箇所がわかりません。後で業者を呼んで修理させたいと思います。
ということは、この台風が過ぎるまでは修理不能ということですか？つまり、
Sounds like
客人たちの滞在中はずっと普通ということですね。客人たちのお世話に支障は？
I don't think
出
so.
ないよう最善を尽くします。
結構です。粗相のないようよろしく頼みます。
No blunders. Naturally let out a small sigh of relief. She'd been prepared for the worst, but damage to the telephones wasn't the kind of trouble she was worried about. Yeah, see? It's just phones. Then again, even this would probably be enough to spark sarcasm from Eva. Oh my god, don't even waste time on her. She's gonna give you shit for anything, literally just for breathing air. Natsui gave her head a light shake.
朝食の準備は順調ですか？
Fuck no.
それがゴーダの姿が見えません。朝食の支度もまだ行われておらず。
なんですって？
Natsui was indignant. To her, this was a much bigger problem than the phone's not working. Yeah, I agree. Breakfast is the most important part of the day. Eat breakfast. And despite that, this piece of information was the part that had been postponed. Why did everything go well most of the time and come to something like this when the relatives were visiting? Natsui put her hand to her forehead and shook her head.
大方朝寝坊でもしているのでしょう。とにかく誰でもいいから急いで朝食の準備を。
Natsui exited into the hall and turned around for a second. Closed the door to her room. The creepy thing she saw there silenced her completely. What? It was an unpleasant sight, as though someone had dipped their fingers in a reddish-black liquid and scratched at the door around the doorknob. It was probably some sort of awful prank, arranged by some person who wanted to make it look like as though they had tried to force the door with bloody hands.
これは何のいたずらですか？悪趣味な。
私も今ここにお伺いして初めて気づきました。
あ？
後ほど清掃いたします。
大方、趣味の悪い客人の冗談でしょう。不愉快です。実に不愉快です。
Let's hope it is a prank. Who in the world would pull such a childish and disgusting prank? The only one possibly who could have would be Rudolph. That's made a pretty good idea, but of course there was no proof. So even if she pushed the issue, it would just seem as though she was making a fuss about nothing. In fact, it would surely be better to act as though she hadn't even realized that such a prank had been played on her. Natsui gave the order to have it cleaned and headed off to the parlor with a squeak on her heels. Good morning, family. Natsui and Genji arrived in the parlor. Eva and Hideyoshi were already there.
おはようございます、皆さん。
おはよう、夏日さん。朝食も合田さんが作るっちゅう話やないか。
Yeah, about that.
朝から胃袋が大喜びで騒ぎっぱなしなんや。
本家の楽しみは食事くらいがせいぜいですものね。
Look, she called it. I already called it. We already knew this was gonna happen. Alright, just don't let her get to you.
エヴァさんも朝からご機嫌がよろしいようで何よりです。
With a weary expression, Natsui returned Eva's gaze, which was fiercely competitive despite the early hour. Then Cannon jogged in. After bowing an apology to the relatives for running inside the mansion, he noticed Genji and told him something in a small voice. What's up?
カノン、
Oh,
ゴーダはまだ見つからないのですか？
you found him sleeping
申し
in?
訳ございません、奥様。お屋敷内もゲストハウスも回ったのですが、まだ。
一体どこへ行ったというのです。とりあえず今はゴーダより朝食の準備が先決です。
Rogue got placed under breakfast. Damn.
至急対応しなさい。
I would have done it too, though. Someone like him? Absolutely. I'll take a number 5 from the McDonald's breakfast menu over him.
はい。
Cannon glanced at Genji. It seemed he had something else to report, but was uncertain whether or not words should come from him. Genji nodded and decided to give the report himself. What's up?
ゴーダだけではありません。旦那様の姿もありません。
Routes?
主人が？
はい。奥様より先に旦那様に朝食の準備がないことをご報告しようと思い、寝室をお伺いしたのですが、お姿がありませんでした。
Alright, Goto was one thing, but where the fuck is Kraus?
それから旦那様だけではありません。
There's more?
ルドルフ様ご夫妻とローザ様のお姿もあります。
What the fuck? Hold on. It's 5 people.
ゲストハウスにも？
Hold on. Oh, it doesn't say it anywhere, does it? Damn. I'm gonna save while I'm here. I thought it would show, I thought I could visit the riddle because I didn't write it down anywhere. That's 5 people missing. Where the hell would they just go?
屋敷にもですか？
はい。ゲストハウスの部屋にもおられません。
So that just leaves Eva, Hideyoshi, the servants, Natsuhi, and the cousins? Wait, what I thought you could? I don't know. I don't know where to find it. Unless it is in there. But I'm also using the 07th mod, so it might, the UI looks different than what you might remember. I don't know, like can I see it somewhere? Is it in options? No, I think options are just options, but I don't know. It just shows like the family tree here. I have no idea. Oh, it's just a backlog. Tips? Oh! Oh, okay. Bet. Hold on. Would it be in here? Yeah, hold on. Tips. That's what it was. Slips the key of it, land. Seems like you must travel only in accordance with these rules on the first twilight. I assume we just had the first twilight, right? Offer the 6 chosen by the key as sacrifices. Unless I miscounted, only 5 people are missing though, right? It's Goda, Kraus, Rudolph, his wife, and Rosa. That's only 5. Unless there is 6 missing, we just don't know yet. Oh, actually, you know what? Hold on. Maybe we should just continue. There might be more. When she'd heard that Godin alone was missing, she'd assumed he had slept in or was loafing around somewhere. However, now that she'd learned that several of the relatives were also nowhere to be seen, she began to take a slightly more optimistic view. Optimistic view? Could last night's family conference have continued all night up until the present moment? If so, they might have wanted to cool their heads after being shut in a stuffy room. Going out for walks on their own through the rain. The part about cooling their heads really sounded like something Kraus would say. Goda had probably been summoned to accompany them and aid them in some way. Goda was not a man who lost track of time. He had to understand that preparations for breakfast would be hindered if he did not return. However, maybe the family conference had continued into this very moment, with an atmosphere that would make it hard for anyone to sleep out. Yes, that theory would be quite convincing for Natsumi. She remembered the illusion she had felt that morning, as though the previous night had never ended. When she learned that the feeling wasn't just an illusion, she once again took a deep, weary breath. After all, that banquet of filthy vultures circling Kinzo's property was still going on.
大方、庭園のどこか、あるいは海岸の方で相も変わらず遺産の話を繰り返しているのでしょう。とにかくゴーダを呼び戻さなくてはいつまでも朝食の準備が整いません。
ってことはなんや、兄さんたちの話し合いはまだ続いとるんか。
Hopefully, Natsu, dude. Natsui. Natsui. She had planned to say it in a small voice, but Hideyoshi overheard Natsui and had managed to grasp the situation. Yeah, Natsui sounds right.
兄さんもルドルフもタフね。ローザの場合は若さかしら。私たち夕べの24時過ぎにはもう眠くてベッドに戻らせてもらったんだけど、確かにあの時点でもまだ兄さんたちは熱論を交わしてたわ。男って熱くなると嫌ね。
Natsui snorted, her face still blank.
カノン、表を探してらっしゃい。ゴーダを見つけたらすぐに戻って朝食の準備をするよう伝えなさい。
Eva met a Ushiromiya. Ah. Right.
かしこまりました。
夏日姉さん、表とは限らないわよ。
Married to one. Natsui. Yeah.
お父様の書斎ってことはないかしら。
He wouldn't let anybody in there.
なるほど。
考えられん話やないで。どういう話の流れかはわからんが、お父さんの主催に場所を移してお父さんにも混じってもらって議論を続けてるっちゅう可能性は十分あるやろ。
そのような汚らわしい話題を好んでお父様が書斎へ招き入れることなど考えられません。あらそう。じゃあ仕方ないわね。源氏さんとカノン君は申し訳ないけど外を探してきてちょうだい。確かに兄さんなら頭を冷やすために外を散歩しようなんて言い出しても不思議はないわ。
That sounds way more likely than actually making it into Kinzo's study. He wouldn't let anybody in there.
たとえこんな天気でもね。私はお父様の書斎に行ってくるわ。ひょっとするとそこにいるかもしれないしね。客人であるエヴァさんにそこまでのご足労はおかけできません。私が行ってきます。朝のご挨拶も兼ねて。
That's all she wanted.
あら、じゃあお願いするわね。でも朝の挨拶を交わしてくれるかは疑わしいわね。夏日姉さんってお父様とは仲よろしかったかしら。仲が良いかは分かりかねますが、後宮家の跡継ぎの妻を許されるだけの信頼を得ていると確信しています。ならきっと返事くらいはしてくれるわね。
He can't not toy with her. This is just an Eva's blood.
お父様とは朝食くらいご一緒したいの。ぜひ降りてきてくださるよう説得してくれないかしら。私たちはすっかり嫌われちゃってるみたいだけど、そこまで信頼を得ている夏日姉さんの言うことなら聞いてくれそうですもの。そこまで短歌を切ってお父様を説得できず一人で降りてきちゃったりして。
Oh, what now?
信頼を得ているなんて二度と言えないかもね。自信はありませんが努力はします。
That's how he responded, looking discouraged. However, knowing Kinzo's temperament, she had absolutely no confidence in her ability to bring him out. I mean, Kraus couldn't do it. Eva was clearly mocking her, confident that Natsui wouldn't be able to get Kinzo to come down. But even so, Natsui would lose face if she gave up, saying it was possible, letting Eva go instead. Eva's mean-spirited and unreasonable demand made Natsui clench her fists slightly. When Genji realized this, he softly spoke to her over her shoulder.
奥様、よろしければこれをお持ちください。
それは
Sparkling gold key of ornate design. The key to his study? Just like that? Wow! The study had an auto lock and couldn't be unlocked as long as Kenzo forbade entrance. However, since Genji was especially trusted by Kenzo, he was allowed to carry a key to that door.
でもこの鍵を使ったらあなたも咎めを受けるのではありませんか。
親方様は深くお休みになられている時、扉を叩くくらいではお耳に届かないこともございます。それに親方様にお部屋を出ていただくよう説得するには扉越しでは
It is the most forward way.
ぜひお使いください。
源氏。
Until now, Natsui had thought of Genji as a cold servant who wouldn't do anything for her since he worked directly under Kenzo. but it looked like she would have to alter her understanding of it. She wanted to communicate her gratitude, but by then Genji had already turned his back on her and was walking down the corridor with the cannon. But as Natsumi watched them go, the words directed at her from behind were sneering.
じゃあお父様を必ず連れてきてね。息子のかわいい嫁の言うことですもの。きっと聞いてくれるわよ。
He just had to rub it in.
私たちは客人だから、ここでのんびりくつろがせてもらうわ。
予算かえば口が過ぎるで。
She's having way too much fun.
すまんが夏日姉さん、お父さんのことをよろしく頼むわ。
Without answering, Natsui forcefully spun around on her heels and quickly left that place. So is it going to work? Oh, we're going to the guest house. After all that excitement the previous night, there was no way anyone was going to wake up early. Georgia, Jessica and I were snoring loudly on the beds in the cousins' room. But Maria, who had gone straight to bed without joining in, was completely awake. She rubbed her sleepy eyes and looked around. She was met with the loud snoring of the other three cousins. For a while, Maria had to think about what had happened. After that, she realized that her mother wasn't with her. She quickly got lonely. Maria left the cousin's room, trying to head to the room that had been arranged for her and her mother. Paying no heed to the three who were sleeping soundly, she slammed the door shut. In response, Battler mumbled and rolled over in his sleep, but it wasn't enough to wake him up. After a while, Maria returned, once again opening the door with a lively bang. She had left the room, her face had been sleepy, but now that she was back, she looked irritated. After that, she climbed up on Battler's bed, which happened to be the closest, and started yelling and jumping on it like it was a trampoline. Good morning to you too. An enemy raid? What was he dreaming about? After making sure I was awake, Maria moved up to Georgianiki's bed and started jumping on that too. In that manner, the three of us were all greeted with an extremely pleasant awakening.
ありがとう、マリアちゃん。起こしてくれたんだね。僕たちは夕べが遅かったから寝坊しちゃったのを起こしてくれたんだね。でも、もう少しだけ起こし方を優しくしてくれると完璧だったかな。
ジョージ兄さんは本当に大人だよ。尊敬するぜ。
Someone has to.
もうすぐ7時なんだな。ま、確かにもう起きてもいい頃だぜ。
I know. I need coffee, dude. I gotta make coffee.
Rosa おばさんが部屋にいなかったの？もう起きてお屋敷の方に行っちゃったのかな。
She's probably just in the mansion. All right. Maria kept groaning, ooh, and looking unhappy. She didn't exactly seem lonely because her mother wasn't around. It was more like she was irritated and thrown off balance because her mother wasn't where she expected. If we could just tell her where her mother was, that alone would probably calm her down. But unfortunately, we had no way of knowing where Aunt Rose was, except that she wasn't here.
どうせ朝食に行くことになるんだし、屋敷の方に行こうぜ。
Oh, we already counted Rose. Never mind. I think we already counted Rose.
そうだな。マリア、一緒に屋敷へ行こうぜ。きっとローザおばさんもそこさ。
おママはお屋敷なら行く。お
Yeah, sure.
そうだね。お屋敷に行こうか。多分親たちはもう向こうに行ってるんだよ。
We regained her usual composure so completely her earlier tantrum now seemed like a lie. We got dressed, left the room, and headed to the mansion. Once more, there was a knocking sound on the study door. But there was no answer. He seemed to be sleeping still, and I could not wake him. If she went back downstairs and said something like that, Eva would probably be amused and triumphant. I mean, of course. She wants nothing but your downfall. Even putting Eva aside, it was problematic that Kinzo stayed shut away during this entire once-a-year conference, not even coming down to greet anyone. Even the family head, no, especially the family head, couldn't fail to make an appearance. I wonder if I can convince him myself. Natsu read it herself and used the key that she'd borrowed from Genji to open the door. I can't really, not really expect, but I can't imagine Kinzo sleeping in. I don't know. Even though she was prepared for the sweet stench, which seemed to eat into one's brain as it poured out the small crack in the door, she couldn't help but grimace. Thinking that he might still be sleeping, Natsu entered the room quietly. When she did, Kinzo was already awake and looking down out the window.
お目覚めでしたか。おはようございます。
どうやって入ったのか。
Kinzo spoke with his back still facing her. Fucking aura, dude. I gotta give it to Kinzo. Sorry. His voice was not harsh, but calm, and Natsume was slightly reassured. However, though he was awake, he wouldn't have ignored all that knocking if he was in a good mood. Natsume wasn't able to relax.
申し訳ございませんでした。源氏さんにお願いして書斎の鍵をお借りさせていただきました。
ほう、源氏がか。我が友がそれに足ると思ったならば話を聞かぬわけにもいくまい。して私に何用か。
はい。
も
うじき朝食の準備が整いますが、ぜひお父様にもおいでいただきたく思いまして。
いや。
朝食はここでとる。
Yeah, I know what she expected.
いつものように運ばせるがいい。
しかしお父様。
You're not talking back, are you?
年に一度の親族会議です。せめてお顔をお見せになってください。
下に降りて、 私の死後遺産をどのように食いちぎるのかを決める議論に加われというのか。バカらしい。そのような話は私を抜きで好きに進めるがいい。そしてそれが親族会議だというなら、私がこの部屋を出るほどの価値はない。私は忙しいのだ。構うでない。
Yep, about what I expected. His last words carried the threat that any further questions would not be appreciated. That's when he realized that adding any further pleas would finally bring his wrath down upon her. She didn't look forward to facing Eva's sarcasm, but there was nothing more she could do. Yeah, I mean, you gave it a good try, you know? You had the key to at least go in and talk to him face to face instead of, like, through the door like most of them did, so, you know? I mean, there's that.
そうですか。
That's all you can really do.
わかりました。みんな残念がるでしょうが、そう伝えます。
That's what he decided to give up. Bowing silently, she tried to leave the room before Kinzo's spasmodic temper could flare up. As she did, Kinzo spoke to her. His voice was so calm and gentle, it felt like it came from an entirely different person.
夏日、後ろ宮の家に嫁ぎ、もう随分になるな。
はい。後ろ宮を名乗ることを許されてから、もう随分になります。
前の家が恋しくなることもあるか。
いいえ。嫁ぐとは、成果を捨てることです。私は後ろ宮夏日。帰る家も懐かしむ家も、すべてはこの後ろ宮の家のみです。
Amazing. She truly wasn't exaggerating. I believe it. Such was the resolve she felt whenever she applied the Ushiromiya family name to herself. Yeah, not that borrowed wound talker. Totally different vibe. That's precisely why she was so sad when her husband didn't treat her like an Ushiromiya, leaving her to race about in vain.
クラウスが女で、お前がその夫であったなら。いや、それは言うまい。
Yeah, where were you going with that exactly? Where were you going with that?
それはどういう意味ですか、お父様。
So he was shocked. If Kenzo's words were now what they seemed, it would have been more than enough to make up for all she had suffered up to that point.
忘れよ。
Okay.
年寄りのざれ言だ。
Kenzo once again faced away from her. He told her to forget it, but Natsui couldn't help feeling a warmth in her heart.
お父様、この夏日は血はつながらずともお父様の娘です。後ろ宮家の名誉も栄光も、そしてお父様が残されたものもすべて、この夏日が
He's
必
feeling
ずや守って
pride?
みせますから。
お前に片翼のわしをまとう資格はない。
It immediately slammed with that. Damn.
しかし、お前の心には確かに片翼のわしが刻まれている。ならばお前は間違いなく我が血族で後ろ宮家の栄光を引き継ぐものだ。お前の衣服にわしがないことを嘲笑う者もいよう。しかし それに耳を貸すことはない。
Is he trying to like hype her up? It feels weird. Like he's trying to be supportive.
心にわしを持つ者だけが真の私の血族なのだ。お前を後ろ宮家に迎えられたことを今は光栄に思っている。
Sounded good. Without saying anything more, Kinzo remained with his back to Natsui. However, Natsui couldn't help but feel something warm welling inside her. She hadn't felt since long ago, when she had just been a child. Natsui bowed silently to his back and left the room.
あら、ちょうどいいタイミングだったわね。お父様の様子はどう？あんまり遅いから様子を見に来ちゃったのよ。
When Natsui left the study, she saw Eva climbing the stairs and their eyes met. Eva was smirking unpleasantly, thinking about Natsui would leave drudgingly after failing to convince Kinzo. However, the way Natsui was now, she was such a frivolous laugh would not disturb her. She was not permitted to wear the family crest in clothing, but she was permitted to wear it in her heart. So she spoke calmly, clearly, and confidently, with the dignity of the one who would protect the Uchinomiya family's glory.
お父様は親族会議にはおいでにならないそうです。汚らわしい議題に関心はないと仰せです。とかなんとか言っちゃって。
It's true.
お父様を説得できなかったんなら素直にそう言えばいいじゃない。哀れですね。お父様が嘆かれるお気持ちも分かろうというものです。
Oh, right there in front of her.
それはどういう意味よ。
Hey yo. Natsui did not answer. Just as Kinzo did earlier, she showed Eva her back as she headed down the stairs. Alright, you know what? Get her ass. Definitely get her ass. Yeah. No, she deserved it. I think Natsui needed that. I think Natsui definitely needed that, for sure. There we go. Eva finally realized that she was being made fun of, something that had happened to quickly bolster Natsui's confidence. Even so, she apparently didn't have the courage to risk Kinzo's wrath. Unable to even knock on the door, she could only click her tongue, make a motion as though scratching at it, and follow after Natsui.
それで兄さんたちはいたの？
Is she stuttering? No way you got her this good that she's stuttering. No fucking way, dude.
お父様に聞いたの？聞きそびれましたが、書斎の中にはいませんでした。お父様が夫たちの下船な話のために入室を許すこともありえませんから、行き先を知ることもないでしょう。下に降りて使用人たちが探してくれるのを待ちましょう。朝食は遅れますが、お茶でもいかがです？エヴァさん。
Now be nice.
別に結構よ。
Good. Eva couldn't hide her confusion at the complete difference in Natsui's attitude. She was acting so bold, while Eva hated to admit it. She had a sense of dignity about it. That's kind of what happens, yeah. When you finally get some good news and you think that your life isn't just like trash anymore, or a waste, it's crazy what happens. Unable to find fault with anything, Eva could only follow Natsui back to the park. Like, I like Eva, right? Obviously, I love her for her witty attitude and all that, but like, sometimes she needs to be put in that place. Sometimes she just still deserves it. When the two of them returned to the parlor, Hideyoshi had been joined by the 4 children and Nanjo. Genji, who had been talking with Hideyoshi, reported the current situation when he noticed that Natsui had returned.
主人たちはまだ見つからないのですか？
はい、申し訳ございません。あと、熊沢が朝食の準備に入りました。
Thank you, Kumasawa.
もう少し時間をいただきたいとのことです。
The clock read a little past 8. Okay, so it was 7 when they got up. It was almost 7 when they got up. It's a little past 8. 8 should have been the time to start breakfast. Normally, going over that time limit would be a disgrace to the host.
今、カノンが表を探しています。それから、シャノンの姿も見えません。
Stop. 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 Are you fucking Tell me it is a fucking coincidence, please. The love of God, she's not connected to the other 5. Don't let her be the 6th. Not after she just got the ring. Not after she just got the ring. Oh my fucking god, dude. You couldn't have pulled anybody else. Please don't tell me she's part of the missing 5. That's not what I wanted to hear. Okay.
シャノンまで？まったく、主人は何を従えて散歩に出かけたのですか
？So many people have gone missing by now. Unfortunately, the 6th just now, if I've been keeping track correctly. Now that the number was this large, it was starting to feel truly unpleasant, as though the people here were the only ones being left out of something interesting. Yeah, interesting for being a sacrifice. That's what you wanted. At least it seemed to reflect the feelings of the children, and Maria in particular. She was indignant, her stomach grumbling, almost as though her mother and the others had left her alone off to go off and eat something delicious without her. Oh. Oh. The other children were flipping through the channels on the television, trying to find a program that might interest Maria and cheer her up again. Nanjo was sitting on the sofa, gazing blissfully at the children while reading a book. Must have been a book about chess. The sound of footsteps came rushing towards them with a pitter-patter. There was only one set, so they realized before seeing who it belonged to that it was probably Kano, not Kraus and the rest.
奥様、失礼します。
What is it, boy?
その様子では見つけられなかったようですね。
申し訳ございません。まだ。
もう十分です。ご苦労をかけました。
She didn't know where they were, but they had to be somewhere on this island. I mean, that's for sure. Okay, I'm not gonna take the boat back. They hadn't had anything to eat since the previous night, so their stomachs must be growling about now. How's it going in there, Kumasawa? They probably come plodding back of their own accord before long. By now, Natsu was thoroughly exasperated and started to feel that there was no reason for them to go out of their way in search.
私はお客様方にお茶のご用意をしに厨房へ行きます。二人とも早朝からご苦労様でした。
Natsu left the parlor, acting as though the release in tension had caused a new surge in her headache. Ken tried to call her back, but Natsu left swiftly. Well? What is it?
まだ何かあるのか？
はい。旦那様方のお姿を見つけることはできませんでしたが。
But...
その...
Ken sounded evasive. It looks as though he didn't know where they were, but it spotted something that might be connected to their disappearance. They're like, what? Eva and Hideyoshi noticed this exchange of words and came over. Probably picked up on something strange in Kanon's behavior.
どうしたんや、カノン君。クラウス兄さんたちは見つかったんか？
Bro, just spit it out. Actually,
バラ庭園の倉庫の様子がおかしいのです。
the Rose Garden store has looked strange? Strange how?
様子がおかしいというのはどういう意味だ？
それが、なんと説明すればいいのか。
Why don't you go out there and take a look? Kanon hesitated once more. His tone wasn't at all what you expect from his usually fearless boy. Seeing this, Eva and Hideyoshi looked at each other dubiously.
どういうこと？倉庫の中に兄さんたちがいたんじゃないの？
いえ、中はこれから調べます。その鍵を取りに戻ったところなのですが、
ようわからんが、とにかく中を調べればいいだけの話じゃないか。その倉庫の鍵はどこにあるんや？
使用任室にあります。すぐに中を確かめましょう。
Come on, man. I could use the bathroom, but like I'm trying to wait to see what this is at least. Kanon dashed off to the server room and returned with the key. Genji left the parlor saying that he would go check, but then Eva and Hideyoshi followed after him. What was this something strange about the storehouse that had caused the usually fearless Kanon to hesitate? It was still pouring outside, but perhaps the curiosity over this something that Kanon couldn't talk about won out. While the children made a big fuss watching television, Kanon and the rest dashed over to the entrance. What's up? The Rose Garden storehouse was a place that housed various tools used to manage the garden. It was definitely not a pretty building. Because of its appearance, it had been built so that it was hidden in the corner of the Rose Garden. Kanon, Genji, Eva, and Hideyoshi came cutting across the Rose Garden holding umbrellas. They entered a small path just off the Rose Garden, which was normally off limits for those appreciating the garden and only used by those maintaining it. As they dashed down that, the storehouse came into view in front of them. What's the big deal? It's closed? It was quite an old shed, and compared to the flawlessly perfect beauty of the Rose Garden, it was pretty seedy. It was easy to understand why it had been built in a hard-to-see place. Fuck, dude, hard-to-see place. Even Hideyoshi arrived at the storehouse long after Kanon and Genji.
カノン君たちは早いな。わしは心臓が爆発しそうや。
こんなところに倉庫なんか建ててたのね。
Yeah?
何よそれ。
What is it? When Eva looked where Kanon was pointing, she was at a loss for words. Noticing this, Hideyoshi also followed Kanon's finger and was likewise too shocked to speak. The entrance to the storehouse was a kind of shutter. And there, everyone suddenly realized why Kanon had been unable to find words to describe what they now saw. On the shutter, which was completely filthy from being exposed to the wind and rain for so long, stuck right on it. What the fuck? There was something that looked like a strange dark red liquid. The same dark red liquid on the doorknob. Mucus? Or maybe it was some sticky paint. An indescribably eerie shape was drawn on the shutter with some kind of ghastly substance. The rain had caused it to drip down like fresh blood leaking from an open wound. No more beating around the bush. Some kind of mark was drawn there with a ghastly substance that looked like blood. In a shape that seemed to suggest something ominous. 2 circles were drawn there, and inside them was a design that looked like a cross. Is that some Antichrist shit? The 4 ends of the cross were widely exaggerated, and it looked like some kind of crest from somewhere around Europe. The cracks between these shapes, written closely packed together, were some unfamiliar characters or possibly symbols.
なんちゅう悪趣味な落書きや。
So we're really getting into some shit now, huh?
これあれか。悪魔の儀式とかの魔法陣いうやつとちゃうか。
こ
Oh, I missed that part.
れいつ書かれたの？
Hold on, I missed that.
昨日雨が降り出す前にここに来ましたが、その時には何も書かれてませんでした。
他の方々の目に触れる前に何とかしよう。ご覧になられたらご不快になられるだろう。
そうね。ただの倉庫小屋とはいえ、こんな気持ち悪い落書きを1秒たりとも放置したくないわ。
倉庫の中に塗料もあります。応急処置でとりあえず塗り消して、後日天気のいい日に改めて塗装しましょう。
Yeah, it's a good idea. Can't you remember that he had just recently seen another script, and that it too had been made with a strange dark red substance of the same color as this? That must have been... That's right, he had seen it on the door to Natsui's room.
カノン君、さっさとこの落書きを消して戻りましょう。たとえ倉庫とはいえ、実家の落書きは本当に腹立たしいわ。
はい。
Of course, of course.
すぐに済ませますので。
Cannon squatted in front of the shutter and unlocked it. He then lifted it up with all of his strength. A boisterous noise resounded, and the eerie shape drawn on the shutter began to get sucked in through the top as the shutter was raised. At least for the time being, that ominous drawing disappeared from their direct gaze, and they all breathed a sigh of relief. That's it? I feel like there's something in there, but you just cut away. Come on, man. Alright. Well, I saw what it was. Let me use the bathroom real quick. Hold on. Here, let me use the bathroom. Okay. Let's pick this back up. I need to put this underneath of here. Boom. Alright. Back to it. So. Here. Thanks to a kids program they came across, Maria was feeling much better. Battler and Jessica were poking fun at the kids show at every turn, acting together. George was enjoying the program with Maria from her perspective. Nanjo sat on the sofa by himself, passing the time by reading quietly. Nanjo was just kind of existing. They heard hurried footsteps coming from the hallway. They were the footsteps of a single person. Did that mean it wasn't the group of four that had just left? No, it was just Genji. It was very rare for Genji, who considered being out of breath a violation of a servant's virtues, to be gasping for air. He had probably come dashing back from outside the mansion. His shoulders were soaking wet. He didn't have his usual trim appearance. When Genji noticed Nanjo looking at him, he gave a small, silent bow and quickly approached him.
南條先生、申し訳ございません。至急お越しください。
What did he need the doctor for?
何事ですかな
As Genji whispered something to Nanjo's ear, Nanjo went pale? Wait, why? He rose from the sofa, trying not to be noticed by the children who were still engrossed by the TV, and the two of them rapidly left the parlor, muffling their footsteps. Yo? Wait, hold on. What did he need Nanjo for? Bros? Hey, bros? Wait. Just as they were about to exit the parlor, they came across Natsuki, who was pushing a serving cart loaded with a tea set. Genji whispered something into Natsuki's ear, and Natsui went pale too, in apparent shock. Then, leaving the serving cart where it was, the three of them dashed towards the entrance. Oh shit. It was something in that storehouse, wasn't it? George noticed them running down the rose garden through the window.
なんだろう。源氏さんと南條先生と、あれは夏日おばさんかな。
どうしたんだよ、兄貴。
何かあったのかな。ひどい慌てようだったね。
When Jessica and Maria saw that Eva, Hideyoshi, and Nanjo were no longer in their seats and that the serving cart had been abandoned in the entrance to the parlor, they also realized something was the matter.
何か事故でもあったとか？
行ってみようぜ。
I'm like dying to know, like please. Can we go over that scene? For some reason, when Battler said it sounded extremely indiscreet. But they couldn't deny that they were a little insecure and concerned after seeing the adults run off into the rain without regards to their appearance.
行ってみようぜ。何があったか気になるぜ。
Jessica's uneasy words spoke for all of them.
おい、マリア。お前も来るか。それともテレビを見てるか。
Depending what's over there, it might be best if you don't bring her. Maybe not.
おお、マリアはテレビがいい。
Yeah, that's a good idea.
僕たちだけで行こう。マリアちゃん、すぐ戻るからね。
Just stay right here. Stay right here, okay?
テレビを見て待ってるんだよ。
Alright, take us there. By the time the kids made it outside, the adults were no longer in sight. Jessica seemed to have a pretty good idea where they had gone, judging by the direction they had been running. Ooh. Umu. Following Jessica, we ran through the rain-soaked rose garden. The wind seemed to suddenly get stronger. The malicious sound of thunder began to ring out like it had previously. It felt like an eerie something that had surrounded the island. It was trying to stop us from moving forward.
ジェシカ、この先には何があるんだ。
確か園芸道具なんかの倉庫があったはずだぜ。
That's right. Keep going.
そんなところに一体何があるんだろうね。
Come on. Just as Jessica had said, they began to see a storehouse in front of them. You could also see the adults there. The shutter to the storehouse was open, and several adults looked as though they were searching for something. For some reason, only Natsuki was outside the storehouse, without even holding an umbrella. She looked like she was hanging her head, and her back was facing me. There was Genji, Nanjo, and Natsuki, who had just left the mansion. The ones who had left earlier, Kana and even Hideyoshi, were also there, making for a small crowd of people. But there was absolutely no bustle of activity. When Natsuki realized that the children were approaching, a terrible expression rose to her face. She ran at them with her arms spread wide. Oh my god. But despite that, no. Because of that, the kids saw the scene Natsui was trying to keep away from them. How bad is it? Oh my god, how fucking bad is it? Inside the storehouse with its shutter wide open, a faint fluorescent light shone down. And right there was... Oh, I hate how they're hyping it up. I don't want it to be what I think it is. I really hope it's not what I think it is. Okay. Okay. Don't be Shannon. Don't be Shannon. Be Shannon. That's all I ask. How bad. Oh my fucking god. Jessica's piercing shriek ran out. What is this theme? But that was just because Jessica's scream was the loudest. The same thing spilled out of Battler and George's mouth as well. Eva spread her arms just like Natsuki, roaring at the kids with a bone-chilling expression on her face. I'm scared. Oh my god, I don't like this theme. I don't, oh my god, dude, I'm not ready for this. What the fuck is it ramping up to? Why is it climbing? Oh shit. When Natsuki spread her arms, I thought she was trying to prevent us from advancing any further. But that wasn't why Eva was spreading her arms right now. She's trying to stop us kids from seeing that terrible scene. It was her mother's heart, trying to protect the eyes and hearts of us children by blocking her view of that terrible scene by at least with one of her arms. This is some kind of joke. No! I'd see this kind of cheap scene all too often. In manga, TV, anime, and movies. I'd see it over and over again. This was just seeing something appear in real life that I'd seen plenty of times before in those more sensational movies, right? That alone shouldn't... But that suit... can't believe it. The saddest banger alert ever. I cannot fucking believe he was right. He was right. No. Oh my god. No. Did we just lose him? Oh my god. It's that old bastards, isn't it? I get it. Then that's Uncle Kraus and Kairi-san and Aunt Rosa. Yeah. No fucking way. All 6 of them. Don't sit here and tell me all 6 of them are right here. I thought it was just Rudolph. He was the only one that said it was gonna happen. To him. He's the only one that at least said anything about it. Are you fucking telling me all 6 right fucking here? Oh my god, dude. I cannot believe they... No. They were actually sacrifices. This is horrible. It's already been rigor mortis.
多分死後6時間以上は経過しとるだろう。
6 or more hours ago?
損壊部位の状況を見る限り死後に破壊された可能性が高い。いや、めったなことは言えん。私は町医者だ。検視は専門外だ。ちゅうことは何や。殺しただけじゃ飽き足らず、さらにこんな無体なことをしたん言うんか。悪魔や。悪魔の所業や。
Oh my god, this sounds brutal as fuck. Aunt Natsu caught Jessica in her arms, and Aunt Eva caught George Aniki. So I was the only one who could approach the entrance to the storehouse. If only there had been someone there to catch me too. I wouldn't have needed to have this horrible, evil scene burned into my eyes. No. No, that's not it. Isn't it that there's no one here to catch me? The people who should catch me, they're right there, aren't they? Just as Jessica said, it did look like a storehouse for gardening tools. A lawnmower with extra blades, a grass sickle and a hammer, some carpentry tools such as a saw, piled up potted plants and bags of fertilizer. And treated just the same. The corpses of several people had been laid to rest there. It is all of them. Okay. No, I'd been tossed in there. I could tell them by their clothes. That old bastard and Kairi-san, Uncle Kraus and Aunt Rosa. Beyond that, Goda-san. No! What did I fucking say? No. There was supposed to be 6. Don't tell me. Don't fucking tell me she's in. Oh my god. Don't tell me she's one of them. No! Are there still more of them? How many people died? You're fucking kidding me! I can't even count them on one hand. Damn it! I didn't know whether it'd be one of those gardening tools which if used for something other than their intended purpose could definitely be wielded with a naked brutality. Or whether some horrible tool been brought in there specifically for this. Anyway, each one of the bodies jammed in here had been given atrocious makeup. It wasn't makeup, but it was more like their faces have been plowed? What? Their faces were matched, forced into expressions that normal people couldn't even make after death. I couldn't tell where their eyes or noses were, but I could find their mouths because they were gaping wide. Their gums exposed. Oh my god. Yeah, the more that they describe this, the more I'm actually glad there isn't a sprite for this. I can only imagine the horrible amalgamation of what this is supposed to look like, but oh my fucking god, that sounds horrible. I thought they just died, but this sounds way more fucked. Dog, what? He said their faces were plowed. He couldn't tell where the eyes, the nose, only the, like, wait, what? Profiles updated? Are you talking about in the pause menu? Those profiles? Are you saying it looks like that right now? This? I didn't think that there would actually be a sprite for this. No. Should I look? Wait. Should I look? Is it bad? Like, is it really as bad as it looks here? Like, genuinely, is it actually like horrific, like and bloody and bad? Like before I look at it, it's not too bad. It just describes their death. Okay, he's saying like their faces are swirled, and that's why I'm just confused. It's not graphic. Just show it. Oh god. Okay, well at least it's not graphic, it sounds like. It's fucked. Oh, it just bloodies their faces. I thought it was gonna show what he's describing. Like the rearranged eyes, mouth, and all of that. I thought that's what it would look like. Okay. No, yeah, they're just fucked. His corpse was found inside the Rose Garden storehouse. The direct cause of death is unknown, but it seems the side of his head was mashed after death, post-mortem. His head was mashed. That's why there's blood on this side of his head. His corpse was found inside the Rose Garden storehouse. His face seems to be smashed after death. He has a right to lament his ill fortune. Her face seems to be smashed after her death. She was chosen by the demon's roulette. The riddle fucking started. It actually did. The first Twilight, 6 were chosen. Wait, so then what happens next? Hold on. The second Twilight, those who remain shall tear apart the two who are close. That's not gonna mean physically tear apart, right? Like, I know this shit was kind of like terrible, but like, it says, then those who remain will tear apart the two who are close. What two people? Is it Iva and Hideyoshi? Those are the only two that's like kind of close, right? Like they're like husband and wife. I'm scared about this part. Now that I know that people are actually literally dying and getting their fucking heads caved in, is there actually going to be gouging the head, the chest, the stomach? Like, is that physical? Like, dude, oh my fucking god, they actually fucking died. They actually fucking died. I'll get to see her again so I don't feel lonely. That's so fucked! Okay. Alright. Let's get through this part. Let's just get through this little scene here. So at least get through this part. But their front teeth were missing, and even the cheeks that should have covered all of this were all torn up and laid bare. Oh my god, dude. I don't want to think about that. I don't want to think about how that looks. That trendy makeup you always spent so much time on, even though you're a man, isn't doing a thing now. He's allowed to feel this way.
バトラーさん、これ以上見てはいかん。こんな姿をお父さんもお母さんもあんたに見せたいわけがない。お父さんとお母さんのためにもこれ以上見てはいかん。
死者ってのは安らかに眠る顔ってやつを拝ませてくれるんじゃねえのかよ。顔がねえんだよ。俺の親父とキリエさんの顔がねえんだよ。どういう顔して死んじまったのか、それすらもわかんねえんだよ。なんだよ俺は。親父たちのことを思い出すときはこのくちゃくちゃの化け物みてえな顔をいつも
I'm
思い
so
出せたのかよ。
sorry, Battler.
そいつは最高だぜ。クソ親父のニヤニヤとした顔を思い出さなくていいんだからよ。最高だぜ最高だぜ。
Bruh.
でもよ、キリエさんの悪党じゃねえ。
Neither was Rosa. I mean, she had her moments. She had a little fuck ups here and there, but not a single one of them deserved this fucked up shit.
たまにはムカつくと思ったけどよ。ちょいとかっこいい俺の姉気分だったお人じゃねえかよ。こりゃねえよ。こんなのってねえよ。クロスおじさんなんかまだマシじゃねえか。顔面じゃなくて側面だぜ。少なくとも顔半分は残ってるじゃねえかよ。まだマシだぜまだマシだぜ。
Jessica filled her ears with the sound of her own screaming, trying to shut out my reckless words.
よすんだバタラ君。もうよすんだ。もうよすんだ。兄貴兄貴。
Disregarding age and appearance, I fell to my knees, clinging to Aniki's waist and sobbing. It was as if I was crying on behalf of everyone there. Representing the feelings of everyone there, I screamed over and over. Bro, dog. Dog. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god.
お父さん
Oh my god, dude. This shit just jumped to like a fucking 11 out of nowhere. We were chilling, dude. We were all just chilling and shit. Like, oh my god. Oh, that's fucked. That's so fucked. They actually got picked and they were actually sacrifices. I really was just hoping it was a metaphor for something else. Not 6 literal human sacrifices and to mangle them up. Like, I don't understand the post-mortem part of it. Why do that? Why go that far after they're dead? Like, dude, holy shit, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Okay. God fucking damn it, dude. I imagine this is gonna be like a whole ass fucking segment. Yeah, no, that's been truly like genuinely evil and demonic shit. Like, that sounds like such a visceral description that he gave. Actually, oh my god, I hate the way that was described, and I don't want to think about anymore how that's supposed to look. Every part of it sucks. Every part of it sucks. Even if Kraus only lost half his face, whatever, just all of it was fucked. When I think about that, just those descriptions, that sounded terrible, absolutely terrible. And I'm gonna put it there. I think I gotta sit on that for a bit. Gotta sit on that for a bit too. Holy shit. It's fucking 8:32. All right. All right. I almost said good prog, but there's just nothing good about this. There is just nothing good about this. Lest you forget, this is a sequel to Higurashi. I did forget that. You know, I was so in the zone here that I did forget about that. No, you're right though. You are right though. See, for someone who's seen Higurashi, right? Like, I've seen Higurashi. We watched Higurashi together. This is kind of run of the mill. If you think about it and remember that this is the sequel to Higurashi, right? And this is actually run of the mill. But I forgot. I'm so locked into just Umineko and everything and anything about Umineko itself. I forgot. And this genuinely caught me off guard. Like, I didn't expect to actually see this. Especially not today. Like, I don't know. Dude, I forgot all about the fucking riddle and like the actual 6 sacrifices. And then it turns out it was way more visceral than that. And he just fucking piled them like fertilizer. Like, holy fuck, Beatrice. If that was Beatrice, god damn. That sucks. That sucks. And I know future me is already not going to be ready for that when we come back. I already know it ahead of time. Holy shit, dude. That's one hell of a way to go out. 6 sacrifices, 5 bodies. Find out next week. Right. Next week, I'm just gonna say that's what we're coming back to. That's really the best I can say. Is just next week. Next week, guys. I guess we'll figure out what the fuck happened. Go from there. So, yeah, that's gonna be it. Good prog. I guess if you could call it that. Yeah, we progged. We definitely progged a bit. That's gonna be floating around my head for a bit. God damn, dude. Okay. All right. Well, GG's everyone. GG's. Good prog. And I'll be back tomorrow. Same time as usual. Tomorrow is going to be SMB3 crowd control. So any channel points that you have right now, you can use to spend on crowd control tomorrow. You can spawn a sun in one of the levels. You can give me a power up. You can, I don't know, change the level somehow. There's like different crowd control actions, basically. So it's going to be a community day tomorrow. All right. GG's, everyone. GG's. Good night. I'll see y'all later.